Hi, it's demo day. And I'm not talking about smashing up your kitchen with a hammer like they do in the DIY channel. No, today, we're riding a new bike. So today we're going to ride a Guerrilla Gravity Trail Pistol. And here we are at their factory and headquarters in the middle of Denver, in the middle of Denver traffic, right by the stadium where the Broncos play. And I don't care about football, so let's not talk about that ever again. And so yeah, this is where they make all their bikes, their main showroom and all that stuff, so let's go check it out. Okay, I totally chickened out. I really didn't want to go in there with the GoPro strapped to my forehead like an idiot, so you can look at a factory tour online. It's a bit windy today. The first stop is going to be Apex Park in Golden, Colorado. Before we get started, I want to say that I'm coming off a 10-year-old 26-inch long travel bike, so I knew this thing would feel quite different to me. That said, before I hit the trails, I wanted to test it out in the parking lot and see how it turns. How I'm able to corner on this bike is one of the biggest things I'll be looking at. Also, how well it climbs. So, I'll be considering how easily it gets over stuff, pedal bob, and overall efficiency. Basically, I want to see how far I can climb before I get burnt out when compared to my old bike. Alright, well, I can already tell you, climbing over these little tiny rocks is a lot easier because of these larger tires. For my 26, you gotta like power through it or carve around them. See if we can find some more technical stuff to climb up in a minute. Just went over that. That's different to me. Not too bad. All right, now this area here, there's that step up in the middle and there's a big one at the very top. I've only been here one time before and I had to push my bike up, so I don't plan on clearing it, but we're gonna try it. And I don't know, this might be the hardest climb in this trail. So I wanted to show you guys my failed attempts because this is all about figuring out what this bike can do. I know I could eventually clear all these sections, but there's a bit of a learning curve with body positioning and timing on this bike. Again, I'm used to something quite different. Still, just 20 minutes on this thing and I could tell quite a positive difference. Get some speed here. Alright. I think I'm keeping my weight too far forward, used to a shorter bike. Alright. Try to stay balanced and pedal. Not being too easy of a gear. Let's kick it up a notch. Oh, so close. Hey, that's not too bad. Considering stood no chance of doing that on my old bike. By the time I climb up here, I'm usually exhausted. Lost my footing. Okay, we're at the top of the trail and there's this nice little 3-foot drop that we're going to hit. But I haven't done any downhill on this bike yet, so I don't know how the rebound is set in the shock, and I don't want to get bucked off when I land it, so we're going to run down these steps a few times, make some adjustments, test it out again, and then we'll do it for real. So it did quite well in these steps, especially given that it's a short travel bike. It did get a little bogged down at the bottom, which made me lose a little bit of speed, but that could probably be dialed out with fine-tuning the forks a bit.
Woohoo! Wow! Maybe a little bit of rebound help there.
So after reviewing this video, I think I falsely accused my rebound setting for that squirrely landing. It's kind of hard to tell, but if you look at the landing here, the trail is kind of bowl-shaped, and I landed on the right-hand side and just kind of rode out the bowl, so to speak. I'm learning that a short travel bike is more responsive to the trail and maybe a little less forgiving, which isn't a bad thing. It's just different. You just got to learn how to ride it.
Probably should have built up to that one. Needless to say, I bottomed out. You can actually get another 10 millimeters out of here. So that's the bottom there. 130. No, 120. And then 130. How do you like that bike?
I love it.
Which one is it?
This is Trail Pistol, short travel. I've got it set up 130 rear travel.
That's what I'm on now.
Yeah.
It's a demo, first time on it.
Did you pick it up from the shop?
Yeah.
Demo? Yeah, I've been thinking about getting the long travel one. I came off a longer travel bike when I got this. And
Yeah.
it does, on trails like this shorter travel rides up.
Yeah.
For sure. But you get into some of the rougher stuff. White Ranch, Floyd Hill stuff. And there's a couple places I wish for 160 mils again. Just good, stable geometry, I think, more than anything else. Makes everything predictable. Have a good ride, man.
You as well. Alright, so I'll admit, taking that drop on a new bike like this that I've ridden for about less than 2 hours, it's probably stupid. Definitely faster than my old bike. I'm not even trying to push it, I'm trying to slow down. I was on my brakes for half the time over there. That's it's kind of cool. This is my third time on this trail, so I don't know it very well. So I'll take it a little easy in the turns. Y'all know it's bikes only.
You know, we just talked to another guy about that. What's the deal with this?
So, I'm just telling you, I mean, I don't care,
this
but...
This is our first time.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you for stopping.
Well,
these chicks, even your buddy was like, got another one behind me. You know,
yeah.
Just doing your due diligence as a rider. Half of these fuckers that we came by, dude, are all chick shit, some bitches that talk and keep it moving, bro.
Yeah.
All we wanted is someone to stop and inform us of what's going on.
Well, yeah, nobody wants to get hit by a bike going downhill, and I don't want to run you over.
Versa. I mean,
right, yeah. Even days, it's bikes only, downhill only.
Okay.
Odd days, it's hikers. When you get up there to where the gate is, go right, and that's the apex, and that you can go up and down.
Okay. Hey,
yeah.
Man, I appreciate that.
Sure, yeah.
Hey, have a good one.
You too.
All right, go.
So I've only been yelled at once by a mountain biker, and it was on this trail. Never mind the fact that he was wrong and all, but maybe they shouldn't call this trail the Enchanted Forest. Maybe it should be the Accursed Forest, because it seems to bring out the worst in people. People should just be nicer to people, even if they are hikers.
Girl. Woo. It's not a point and shoot bike, but it is fun.
Okay, first ride impressions. It's easier going up. It's harder going down. What I mean, it's physically easier to go up. Less brakes. You know, I'd have to stop as much. The longer stretches, I could just keep going. I felt like I was walking. Going down, though, you use your body a lot more. And my whole body's tired. I'm going to be sore. Chest is sore. I mean, you're doing a lot more of this because, you know, trying to make up for all that suspension that you don't have. But it's a fast bike. And, you know, a few pedal strokes and you're going. So I felt like I was going faster than I normally would feel comfortable doing, especially in a new bike, but I could definitely go a lot faster in this thing. The suspension isn't dialed. Definitely got a little kicks here and there. But again, a lot of that could be I'm not using my body like I should be because I'm used to more squish. So probably what happened to that big drop I took where I just kind of squirreled off on the side. I'm used to just hanging on, just kind of going through it. Maybe that means I'm not dialed. That's probably it. It's probably me, not the bike. Let's go to Valmont Bike Park, do some jumps.
Oh, it turns so much easier. That's amazing. Yeah, pretty good. It's so much easier to clear. Ooh, skin my butt. Not used to that.
Second ride impressions. That is a fun bike. Being able to cut turns on those trails just made it so much better. I found just flowing left and right was more fun than actually jumping. So jumping on a 29er for me is different. I've skimmed my butt like 4 or 5 times. I'm just not used to that big tire right behind me. I almost landed on my face on one, the last one, and I called it quits.
Alright, a little closer look. The rear tire on this bike is the, what is it? Yeah, DT Swiss M1900. And I counted, and there's 24 points of engagement, which gives you 15 degrees of play before each click, which isn't great, but it's not horrible. The DT Swiss hubs, I don't know what model they are. What else? Dropper posts. This SDG Tellus is pretty cool. It's pretty quick. The link. When looking at this, I thought, you know, what if some rock gets in there and, you know, gets crushed or smashes up your frame? Well, it's actually, I don't know if you can see, but it's actually kind of hollow there. So if anything were to get in there, it wouldn't be that bad. And I
do think it looks kind of cool. That's like the only shiny thing on this bike, and I think it kind of pops and looks kind of nice. I guess that's also shiny. This is run in the plush mode, Fox DPX2. Honestly, the suspension was so like short, I couldn't really feel it. Like, I mean, it worked, but it wasn't. I guess bigger suspension, you have more strokes, you have more sensitivity to what it's doing. You know, 120 in the back. I mean, it was soft, I guess, for 120 millimeters. And this is a Pike Ultimate, and I can't tell the difference in that in my 10-year-old Revelation fork. So on this bike, I don't know if I would, you know, actually splurge and buy really super nice forks. I mean, the travel is just so quick and short. I mean, I don't know if you would tell a difference. Yeah, this was also in the long reach mode, which, I mean, it felt nice. I would like to swap it around, try it out, but maybe on round 2. And all the cable routing goes over onto one side. So the only weird thing is the dropper goes to the left side, which honestly isn't that bad. I think it looks pretty clean. They do get some rubbing right here, so it might be nice to put some kind of a protector there if you buy one of these. Powder coat is peeled off there. So you got 3 cables going down in this channel all the way down there. 2 come out. Got the dropper and the brake. And the shifter comes out right above the bottom bracket. Got a hard plastic skid plate on that bottom bracket. Pretty tough. Thought it was gonna be kind of soft, but it's pretty hard. Chain stay seat stay cushion is a little softer. Makes sense. You want that chain to be quiet. Another cool thing, those ICSG tabs are replaceable if they break. And now I know what everybody wants to know, is what does it look like behind this panel? And there we have it. It's the little channel. Here we got a little grommet there for the shifter cable. That's it. Kind of what I expected. Alright, let's put it back. Alright, day 2. And got to return this bike today, but I got time to do a couple more runs. And we're going to hit a place called Hile Valley Ranch, which I probably ride more than any other place, so I know the trail a little better. I haven't showered, and I'm wearing the same clothes as I wore yesterday. And I'm okay with that because I'm on vacation. And got another burrito. Mexican food right before a ride. It's a risk, but well worth it. So I just decided to mess around with the high speed and low speed compression on this fork. It turns out it was all the way open on both settings. You know, based on my comment last night, not being able to really tell a difference between this nice fancy short travel fork and an older, longer travel fork. Yeah, I don't know, maybe there's some playing around with it I can do, but honestly within the day probably won't be able to tell you. I've never seen a mountain lion here though, although the sign says it's mountain lion country. So I think I mentioned this before, but this bike is in the plush mode, which is the spongiest mode, and the shock is all the way open, and the pedal bob is not that bad, which was one of my big concerns. But maybe that's partly because it's a short travel bike. I mean, it's there, but it's not noticeable really. If you're paying attention to the trail, really don't know it's there. Whew. Tired from yesterday.
5 hours. And now I'm gonna do it again. A burrito pre-ride, it's a bad idea. Okay, we're now in pedal mode on the shock. Actually feels a little better. They did point out at the shop that in some of these trails that are real rocky, you actually would probably prefer it in open mode because it'll give you better traction, which makes sense. Actually, I think I prefer have a little bit of give going up stuff like that. Yeah, the pedals uphill. If you were to upgrade anything on this bike, high engagement hub for sure. I just got done chatting with a guy who apparently has the same bike, and he really liked it. All right, let's do it. I'm hitting all the lines I usually do on my 26-inch, but that looks fun. Also, let's go look down there. Might be fun. Let's try that. Yeah, that works. Handled that quite well, actually. All right, I'm starting to want to take back that statement I made last night about these forks being comparable to my old forks. Feels quite smooth, at least on this trail. I don't know if it's worth the extra money though. Ooh, rear tire slipped on that one. Whew, that's fun. Going back to the forks, one thing I noticed on this trail compared to Apex So I'm using my front tire more when I'm landing. Coming down on that fork actually makes the whole ride much softer. It's just a different bike, a different style of riding. Used to landing either both wheels at the same time or more weight on my rear because I had more travel, but hey, if you favor the front tire more, that bike really does feel good. Where does this go? Where does this go? Okay, what is that?
Okay, so I'm going to let this video just play out for a while I give my final thoughts. This is the Wapiti Trail at Howell Valley Ranch, and for my skill level, this bike is perfect. They could have named this bike the Wapiti Trail Pistol. I felt that instead of trying to find the smoothest lines on the descent to maintain speed like on my 26-inch, I was rolling over chunkier stuff and looking for things to pop over at the higher than normal speeds I was going. It handles chunk just fine, though you tend to want to wheel bump over a lot of it versus trying to just plow through it. As far as I'm concerned, it climbs great. I need to spend more time to get the timing down on this longer bike to punch over rocks, but it pedals over just about anything. I also had to force myself to just sit normally in the saddle and climbs instead of leaning forward like is required on my old bike. Tight switchbacks were a little harder to navigate through because the bike is so long, but you get used to it. And honestly, if you're used to a modern enduro-style bike, this probably won't be an issue.
Yeah, getting on that just fine.
I thought it was pretty cool to run into people while on this demo that were either on the same bike themselves or mentioned that they had owned it, and they had great things to say about it. There's definitely a community of proud Guerrilla gravity owners that like talking about their bikes. A little funny note, I couldn't sleep the day before I picked up this bike because I was so excited, kind of like a kid before Christmas. The next night after I rode it, I couldn't sleep yet again because I wanted to go ride it again. Kind of like Christmas Eve, but when you know what your parents are going to get you for Christmas. And crazily enough, after I returned it, I couldn't sleep again because I couldn't stop thinking about it. I seriously want to buy this bike, but I'm a patient man when it comes to big purchases, and I really want to try out some other brands. Sadly, though, with COVID and the bike shortage, I can't find a bike to demo. I was hoping to try out a Ritmo AF, Santa Cruz Hightower, and a Commensal Meta TR, but no one around here even has anything to demo or sell. Fortunately, though, Guerrilla Gravity can just make you a new bike in a short while, so at least buying one is an option. And they actually have a ton of bikes in stock to demo, so that's pretty cool. And speaking of demos, it costs about $100 to take one of these bikes out, but if you pick it up early and drop it off late, you can have it for about 30 hours or so. Also, they'll apply that fee to the cost of a new bike, up to $500. So this really gives you the option to literally try out every bike that they make before you go buy one. If I could sum up this bike in just one word, it would be...
Hi guys, this is a fun bike.
Fun. I just had a great time on this bike, and apparently I noted that about a dozen times in my GoPro footage. I mean, that is what mountain biking is all about, right? We get out there because biking takes us away from our worries and puts us in an almost timeless state of pure excitement. In other words, we have fun, and this bike truly enhances that experience. You guys ever go to summer camp as a kid? Find a girlfriend, then on Friday you gotta go home and leave her? That's how this feels.